blinky, 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 blinky.
Oh, hey, sorry, I was in my meditative trance right there.
That music can do that to me as well. So I miss the hard rocking beat from the
Beat. Yeah.
advertisement for one of the festivals.
FlutterCon,
FlutterCon,
yes.
right?
The biggest Flutter conference in the world. Yeah, that's where we're going with that. Yeah.
The
I'm actually
biggest
really
conference named
excited.
FlutterCon.
Yeah, the biggest conference named FlutterCon. That's Simon
They
and
don't make
Ken's.
you bigger.
No, I'm actually
I'm
super
not
excited.
biased about it at all. No.
I'm super excited. I saw FlutterCon USA is in Orlando this year, it looks like.
Yeah.
That is an excellent decision.
It's totally not an excuse for me to go to Universal Studios. Just saying.
Right. I also want to go to Universal Studios. I feel like there's going to be a posse of us that after FlutterCon Orlando completes, we're going to all migrate to Universal Studios and try to guess where Flutter is being used. So
Definitely.
Yes, that would be a good challenge.
So, welcome to the show, everyone. We're doing something slightly different this week. So, hang on. Oh, yeah, mute that.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, for tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
What I want to just share here in the stream, if you're on mobile watching us, or you would like to watch us on mobile, we actually have a different type of stream. So we've got, so hang on, I should repost both. This is going to be interesting. So if you're on the desktop one on a phone, you can click on this link in the chat, and you'll be seeing a version of, where is it? Oh. Hang on. I'm posting the wrong place here. There we go. You should be seeing this link come up on the stream. There we go. So you can go there and you'll be seeing a version of us in portrait, which is interesting. And then so we're dual streaming basically today. We're streaming in landscape and portrait. And then if you're on the other stream, which now I have to go to, I don't know how this works. Oh, well, I'll just post them in the same place. And then you'll have the other link now in the chat if you're on the other stream, I think. Yes. Anyway, there's two streams. I thought we'd just give it a go. I think it's a bit confusing, but we'll try it out. And that way, if you're on a phone, it might be better. I'm just guessing you could just turn your phone the other way and it wouldn't be that bad, but we'll give it a go.
I look 15%. I look 15% sexier in portrait than I do in landscape. So try to contain yourselves if you check out the other stream.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what it's going to do when we start doing code samples, though. I think it's going to really be tough on the Neuro stream.
Well, I don't know. We'll find out, won't we?
I guess so. Yep.
So, yeah. Apparently, what I was going to say, and yeah, we've got the chat on the stream as well today. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe we probably change things around as we go, but we'll give it a go. So that was a bit of a jump into not with what we usually do. I guess we'll do some brief introductions.
That's a good plan.
Let's see how this works on both. So my name's Simon Lightfoot, CTO at Dev Angels London and a community leader at Flutter, and you can follow me at Dev Angels London on Twitter and other social medias. Randall.
I'm Randall Schwartz. I'm a Dart and Flutter Google developer expert, although I no longer need to say Dart and because there is no separate category for Dart. So I'm just a Flutter Google developer expert as of this point, but been in the program for 6 or 7 years now. So one of the early ones, which means what I do is I spend a lot of my time during the day, probably more than my clients want me to do. I spend a lot of time during the day answering questions on places like Stack Overflow and Discord and Slack and Reddit and all of the places that I happen to see questions, sometimes answer things in Medium posts, that sort of thing. But for this show, I am the question magician, which means that I am watching, sadly, I am watching both chats, all three chats actually, but I'm only responding in one chat, in the main YouTube chat. But if you want to ask a question, put Q: in front of it, and I will flag it no matter where it's coming from, and we will get to it pretty much in the order that we receive them, unless for some reason we're taking a few out of order. But anyway, that's what I'm doing for this show.
And Matthew.
Yeah, my name is Matthew, also known as Makerinator around the interwebs. You can find me on YouTube. That's my primary thing that my primary platform, but also on Blue Sky and LinkedIn. And yeah, my passion is using Flutter in unexpected ways for embedded and like maker projects and stuff. And I'm super excited because I got a CNC machine on Black Friday on sale, which means I can do cool stuff like potentially mill my own circuit boards now. So you are going to be seeing and hearing way more about the El Cheapo CNC machine that I bought, but I'm excited.
How big is the CNC machine?
It is the cutting area is 15.7 by 15.7 inches. So it's not the largest CNC machine, but it is what's called a desktop CNC machine. So it'll do everything that I need it to do. It'll cut out small parts. It'll definitely mill circuit boards. It'll cut wood. It'll cut plastics. It'll cut aluminum. So yeah.
I had to convert it to centimeters because,
So what?
I had to convert it to centimeters. It's roughly 40 centimeters.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's actually called I'll just say it's Genmitsu 4040 Pro. And so yeah, that's 40 centimeters by 40 centimeters is the cutting area.
Big credit to the name, yes.
I was gonna say you can still do like circuit boards without that. I used to do etching, which was quite a reasonable way of doing it. So it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of say it's fallen out of fashion now. I guess CNC might be easier. So what you used to do is you used to get your basically like laser printer. You print out your design on a bit of like film, and then you put that on the circuit board. You transfer it, then you can then mask off the bits you don't want to. That basically masks off the bits you don't want to be etched, and you drop it in some liquid, and that etches off the bits that you are left that are not covered up. Words escape me today. Anyway,
no. I know what you're talking about. So the acid basically cuts away the traces, and then you're able to,
I mean, like it's quite a messy process, and I can imagine how maybe milling is a nice way of doing that. I was thinking actually about this, like it might, the Cricut cutters, like the.
I have a Cricut at home called a Silhouette. So yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's the same deal.
Well, so I was thinking about the way that you get like the aluminum tape or copper tape that's sticky on one side, right? I was thinking about, wouldn't it be cool to actually like take the Cricut and like cut, like maybe get like a wide sheet of that and cut that out, and then you kind of like place that down and peel off the remainder, and then now you've like laid out a circuit, using something like that. So it's, again, it feels like it's very much the CNC rather than like you're taking away material still, right? I guess. And the only other way I think of doing it was we're completely off topic here. By the way, we're just trying to like fill up the time, so get your questions in with the queue in front.
We are a Flutter show, not a maker show, but
yeah, I know. But we're talking about the other one is if you've got a 3D printer. I was thinking about, I wonder if you could get like copper infused or metal infused. I know you can kind of get this, but specifically for the purpose of circuits, conductive kind of a material that you can put down, and then you can maybe lay out your circuit in a 3D, with a 3D printer, basically.
There is a lot of, if you read Hackaday, there is several different projects that are working on solving this problem of trying to create circuit boards at home. And it's unfortunate because I feel like there was a lot of energy towards that. And then like it got so inexpensive to order PCBs online that people were just like, forget it.
It used to be for America. It's not anymore. Tariffs.
Yeah. Gonna stop right there. We won't
go any further on that topic. But no, I was going to say, apparently finding actually getting things like that made and getting parts and things like that now is becoming extremely difficult.
The number of Kickstarters that I've backed that have sent me messages like, we need more money because tariffs is astounding. So
I was really surprised that so I paid earlier for the Analog 3D, which is the N64, that's the Nintendo 64 like remake, and they actually sent out an email. They actually sent an email saying we're not going to increase the prices based on tariffs. We're going to absorb that cost. I was like, that's really great.
Yeah.
But equally, I don't know how you're doing that. I think maybe they caught it on the early end because they were already a lot way through the manufacturing process. But I can imagine anyone now is going to have problems. Anyway, enough of that. We're here to talk about Flutter.
Do's and don'ts, maybe as well.
We all know the do's and don'ts. All right, go on then, Randall. Go on, give us your best part of the do's and don'ts.
Just be good. That's enough. Be good, and we do
Don't
have
be bad. Be good. There you go.
Yeah. There we go.
Carry on. Yeah.
So what we recommend is if we don't get to your question fast enough, please repost it in the chat as many times as you can.
Whoa.
Just keep doing that over and over and over again. Just copy, paste, pound, copy, paste, enter, copy, paste, enter. That'll make sure that we get to it faster.
Hang on. Yeah, it's fixed now. It's fixed.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
There you go.
Just for you long time, notice which of the three of us have been on this show longer. That's going to be a 2-to-1 vote against what
So we normally say don't repeat it. If you post a link, it won't come through. So you want to post a gist hash. So go to gist.new, pop your code in there with a .dart extension, and when you post your gist, you'll get a hash in the URL. Copy it out, pop it in the chat, and we can find it that way. But any message with a link does not come through. The whole message, not just the link. So don't post links; it won't work.
And the only reason we're able to post links is we have special powers, but that's just
we are the admins.
We don't hand those out. Only people that have blue in their name in YouTube can post links. So, yeah. Anyway,
so how is everyone doing?
Man, I'm doing so good. Like honestly, I have so many plans for stuff that I'm working on. I got family coming in for Thanksgiving. I'm doing awesome.
I thought you were about to say you got like 20 projects on the go. How's that? That's not good.
It's getting close. It's getting close, actually. But no, it's good. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I was going to say, and then it all completely slipped my mind. But no. How about you, Randall?
Well, since last week's show, I've turned 64 years old, so I've rolled over in binary.
Yes. Happy birthday. Yeah.
Wasn't there a song about that?
Oh, God, stop. I had it out of my head so far today.
No, we did the happy birthday stuff before.
Yeah, it's all good there.
No, When I'm 64 by the Beatles is what I was going for.
You know that. Yeah, that song. I sang that probably 40 times during the year. So pointing at this last Saturday's date, yes.
Well, let me see how far the jerk level I can reach before they kick me off the show. Simon, there's this band you may have heard of called the Beatles.
Never heard of them.
They were really influential in pop culture history.
Yeah, in my life, I've never actually coded Flutter code in Abbey Road Studios, which I have. Literally, me and Craig went to a hackathon to talk about Flutter to a bunch of new people. This was very early days of Flutter. And we went up on stage and did all that. But I coded a wave sound, a playback system for sound that would show you the waveform, live waveform as it was coming through. And we did that during the hackathon, and that was quite fun. But I did that actually in the studio where the Beatles were recorded.
That is one of the coolest stories anyone has ever said. That is awesome.
So that was quite
Holy
fun.
Smokes.
A crossover between Beatles and Flutter, right?
It actually exists. It happened. Yeah. I actually have a Abbey Road Studios mug that I got when I was there. They gave me one.
Steal it? Did you steal it?
No, they could keep it. They gave us
they told you it was okay to
steal all the rest of the nubbins, right? But no, it's pretty cool.
Simon walked by, was like, "Can I have this?" And someone who doesn't even work at Abbey Road was like, "Yeah, sure, I don't care." And then he just snuck it in his bag.
He said it's okay.
The way to do it.
I'm trying to come up with a pun like Paul McDashney. I don't know if that works.
No, stop now.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yep. We got a couple questions if you want to actually take a question.
Yeah, we can get questions. Actually, before we do that,
we take questions.
I saw there was a tweet that I sort of fed back on here actually. That so Seth Ladd posted that support for Dart in cloud functions has been moved to started by the Firebase team.
started.
Yeah, that's officially
Yeah.
they're going to officially do it. It's now
Mm.
being worked on right now with developers.
Yay.
I hate JavaScript so much, and when I write cloud functions, yeah. Oh God,
So
thank God.
the official announcement, I'll post a link to it from in the chat here. So
Cool.
But yeah, it's on its way. It's happening.
Nice.
No, that is that's really good news. Particularly like I've been playing around with ServerPod a lot, really like what they're doing, but I also like I like writing serverless stuff largely because I don't want to maintain a server, if we're being completely honest. And so the great thing about Firebase functions is that I can just write the logic that I need, and then the maintaining the server that it runs on just becomes Google's problem. And as someone who does not love backend development, I am all for that. So being able to write my Firebase functions in Dart, that's delightful.
Well, I think there's the other aspect of it, which is one of the powers that Flutter and Dart has always been in the hot reload and hot restart. Now just imagine being able to do hot reload and hot restart with cloud functions.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is literally a no-brainer, right? Like just imagine that you've got like a debug connection to like a hosted Dart instance, and that you can actually, I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm just like guessing here, right? But that idea that you could just simply, be hot reloading and then run your code again and then see it operating in the cloud, like in that space, even if it's in local emulators, like how we want to do it, but to have that hot reload, hot restart functionality with cloud functions.
Oh yeah, that would be dope.
There's
already packages that plug into Shelf that watch the file system and reload themselves.
I've used them. Yeah. But again, it's that kind of thing of you can do that in your own Dart projects. You can do all that stuff, and you can do Docker images, and you can set them up. But if it's an out-the-box experience and it's super easy for beginners, then you'll be able to do those maybe a couple of odd cloud functions you need to get your project off the ground. It's a no-brainer, right? Like,
cool. And we have a question related to that, if you want to take that question now, which is Lucas asks, Superbase still doesn't support Dart functions, right?
Yeah, I think it doesn't. I mean, here's the thing. Look, let's be honest. This whole thing with Dart functions kind of got blown out of the water because, like, you can do it right now with cloud. So let me be clear about this: cloud functions, not Firebase functions per se. Right? They are based off the same thing. Firebase uses cloud functions, right, to give some features. But cloud functions v2 is any Docker container, which means right now you can use Dart code, and there's actually a package on pub specifically gives you help in decoding the inputs that you get from the cloud framework to action, like events and things. That already exists, and you can do all that right now. You don't have to wait for Firebase, right? To be clear about this, and you can do that on any hosted service because it's a Docker container, right? Let me find. I've already lost the link. I posted just a minute ago. Let me find the link to what I'm talking about. I did here it is.
Speaking of Docker,
in the chat. This is just my comment here. So I worked on this with Tony from the Google's cloud team. It's called Functions Framework. It's a package on Pub that that basically it was last published 2 years ago, but I don't see how much would have changed recently. Try it out; should still work. But yeah, if you're using Cloud Run or all these kind of things, like it'll just work. So there's no reason why. It should all work on AWS Amplify as well, and all these places. So,
speaking of Docker, I discovered I discovered the coolest thing the other day. So you can set up MCP servers inside of Docker, which is not surprising. But if you connect them to Claude Desktop, you can now set up Claude Desktop to take control of your PC. So there is a DaVinci Resolve MCP. So you can tell Claude Desktop to start editing your video for you if you've got the MCP, you can now set AI agents loose on your local machine to do whatever they want.
You'd be able to do that for like you've always been able to like do. So I've seen people do that with like terminals, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to give terminal access to my MCP terminal access to my AI bot, and just have it run whatever command it wants, right? Like it's just like, and yes, you can tell it to
What could go wrong?
You can do stuff, but I'm just like, that's the same thing about giving it access like that. I'm like, do you want to give this thing unfettered access to do anything and it basically impersonate you? Because they're going to have access to everything you have access to. Like, you wouldn't do that to anything. Let's be honest. I don't know. It feels, yeah. Feels,
and so the era of machines begins.
Yeah, the start of Skynet. Right. Should we get some questions in if they come in?
Yeah, I guess I'll get a couple more here. Let me pull one of them up. There's this sort of unrelated one, but it had a Q in front of it, so I figured I might as well say it. What's your favorite kind of cheesecake? All of them, yes. Strawberry in particular.
I love. Say what?
Toffee cheesecake. It's quite nice.
Toffee cheesecake is delicious. Yeah. Mandy and I went vegan a couple years ago, and one of the things that I miss dearly is cheesecake. So there are vegan cheesecakes that are good, but
what's a cheesecake that isn't? I don't even know what it's made out of, to be honest. I don't really care. It tastes good, but it's not very vegan.
Yep.
So
all right. Well,
you take a block of American cheese and you take a cake and then you just put them in a blender, Simon, and what comes out.
Yeah. All right. We have some more questions. We could just take some more questions here. How about this? So Philip asks, is there an out-of-the-box solution for E2E encryption? I battled a few nights implementing one from scratch with Firebase Firestar. I have a similar use case as WhatsApp chat groups.
Okay. Oh Christ! Right. How do I answer this?
Carefully.
There are two packages I know that do end-to-end encryption out of the box that you can get on Pub, and I'll go dig them out in a minute. But the first problem is you don't be using Firebase and Firestore for any of this kind of thing. Like, it's not designed for that. The end-to-end, like, people just think end-to-end encryption solves like a bunch of things, and it's helpful, but it's also not what you think. So it stops the what happens with end-to-end encryption. Now, this is okay. Let's explain some things here. When you use Twitter and you DM someone, do you think it's private to you and the person you're speaking to? Most people do. When actually it's private between you two people and the whole Twitter internal staff, basically. Obviously, they have restricted access internally, but it's that aspect of it's not end-to-end encrypted, meaning that it's not encrypted between the two end parties, and therefore the platform has access to that data. This is standard for all like internet technologies and platforms, right? However, you obviously encrypt that data with an end-to-end key, and you do a proper key sharing algorithm, then yeah, you're good. And there's plenty of algorithms out there for that and implementations. It's just how deep do you want to go? So Signal, there's libsignal protocol Dart. This does the double ratchet protocol. I popped it in the chat. It's this package here. And that follows the libsignal approach, but equally, it's a full Dart implementation of it. But what you're not going to get is any hand in how you're going to integrate that into how you do it, how you're going to access the hardware key store. There's probably other questions related to this, but it's there. The double ratchet protocol is implemented. How tested it is, how good it is, that's all stuff that you're going to have to like figure out for yourself, I think. I think the same company have done a couple of different things for their chat application, desktop chat application they built by building in Flutter. But yeah, and there's another double ratchet implementation. Double ratchet is the mechanism for end-to-end key exchange, right? I can't remember the name of the library now.
Oh, he's asking follow-ups here. Let's see. What I currently do is I generate a unique passphrase and generate private and public keys, and then do a few more things to sync different devices. Sort of reinventing the double ratchet protocol, I guess.
I'll be honest with you, like it's like Diffie-Hellman, right? Like these protocols exist. They're very well tested.
Yes.
Don't just do your own thing. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're asking for trouble.
You don't want to mess with security because if you get it wrong, your stuff's
I can't
everywhere.
find the other package right now, but that'll give you a start. But you can look that one up, I'm sure. Yeah.
Also, double ratchet is what bullies called me in high school. So, sorry, Simon, go ahead.
Here comes double ratchet. I think I would also mention that the problem in end-to-end encryption is not the encryption piece, right? Just encrypt something. It's how you do key exchange. It's how you. I mean, it's one of those things, and I'm not even going to go into it now because it's, to be honest, it's a bit fuzzy in my mind because it's been a while since I've had to look into the details. But just the whole idea of key exchange, how we can exchange, how our computers right now, for you to watch this on YouTube, have exchanged public-private key pairs without anyone in the intermediate actually finding out what that key is absolutely amazing in itself, right?
Yeah.
It's and that's where the magic comes in, really.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Next.
Oh, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Oh yes.
Okay. Next
I think
question.
it's kind of fun. To be honest, though, it is kind of fun to do a bit of yak shaving for a learning exercise, right? To do re-implement something, to understand how it's implemented and what the problems in to know that your one is crap and that you should not be using it, right? Like it's also, you realize how much time has been spent to perfect what's already there, and to learn that you're not going to get close to what's already there in the time that you're going to be able to put into your project, right? So
I think the problem is when you put it into production, when you take your Jake implementation and you put it into production,
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fine to actually like make up your own thing and play around and create an open source project as a learning exercise for yourself, right? For this.
100%. Yeah.
I think I really recommend everyone to do these kind of things. It's brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I want to take this one out of order just because it says I watched Randall's video on Flutter signals. It was really good. That way I can talk about it just now.
I watched it last night with Randall. It was really good.
I have not watched it, but I will watch it now.
Generated with LM Notebook LM, right?
Yeah, I did. Because they said Notebook LM had been updated, and I wanted to see what that was like. And I threw all my signal stuff at it and said, make a medium length video and use this kind of graphic style. And that's all I told it. It decided what topics to cover, what order to talk about them in, and the graphics were actually really good. So I had to share it with everybody because I probably won't keep doing things that way but I just wanted to test it out and to see what it was like.
So I've got a question. Was that your voiceover at the beginning? Was that an AI voiceover using your voice?
That's that voice at the beginthem is indirectly mine. Yes, I had to read a bunch of words and program it. But that's them.
I had to him when I was listening to it. I'm like, that's from an AI.
It's just a little off, but it's not off by far enough that I didn't feel. I was sitting in a noisy restaurant last night while I was making this thing, so I said, well, I want to get this out right away, and I don't have a place to go, quiet room to record the opening, so I'll just synthesize the opening. Sure.
It'd be really interesting to have like the entire voiceover, like done in your voice. That might be interesting to try.
Oh, I've done one of those before. I've done back about 6 months ago. I was playing around with the platform I'm using, which is Descript, DESCRPT, and they had just added higher quality voices. So I did a whole section where I was using their AI to generate my entire narration for a 5-minute video, and people yelled at me and said, "Don't ever do that again." So I'm not going to do that again.
So I actually have a recommendation from the other direction, Randall, which is I have an AI processor that will take your actual recording from even like the crappiest mic you can possibly imagine, and it makes you sound like you're sitting in a studio somewhere. It's so good. I've been using it on all of my videos just because it like, and I'm recording with a relatively decent mic, but it makes it sound so much better even after that. It's called Auphonic,
Mhm.
Auphonic.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have to pay to use it, but worth it anyway.
I'm
I
using
think
Crisp
I
for
think
roughly
we
the same thing, but it doesn't take
Okay.
it won't take out all the background noise in a restaurant. That's just too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
Auphonic will.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I'll find the
It'll,
noisiest restaurant
yeah.
and go sign up for it.
That would actually
Yes.
be an interesting YouTube video if anyone had a channel that did that. It's like, I'm going to record in the worst possible conditions and we'll see if AI can fix it.
Well, and even
They
DaVinci
probably
Resolve
exist. They
Studio
probably exist.
I'm
DaVinci
sure it
Resolve
does.
Studio added a filtering for various things like background. It does stems directly in the app now, which is really nice. If you have the studio version, not which is the paid version, yeah, it's kind of nice.
Yeah, the
We should probably
studio
get back to
version was
Flutter.
the best. Yeah, we are a Flutter show. All right, I'll shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Let's
Yes,
see. What's next? What's next?
opinion one. This is fast. What do you think of Supabase, and which is better, Supabase or Firebase? Depends on what for.
Have not used Supabase.
I've
Have a
used
friend
it.
that has.
I played
I've
with it a
used
little
it.
bit.
It's not. I mean, this is the difference, right? Like I think it's obviously more complicated, not as user friendly as Firebase.
Yes.
But it gives you more. It effectively gives you more flexibility than Fireplace, and this is always the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna, if you want more flexibility, then there's more onus on you as the developer to configure things correctly, to do things you want. But that makes it obviously harder, right? In a sense, right? That you need to know more, you need to understand more, right? So you've got that. You're always going to have this trade-off of all these platforms, right? You can literally, as we said today, you could just write your Dart code, stick it in a Docker container, and ship it anywhere. Who cares if it's super? It doesn't have to be super basic. It can be literally a little Raspberry Pi to a box that you had from years ago that you just turn on and install Docker on, right? Like, these kind of things are that's the hard level, right? But it's also the most flexible. You can do whatever the hell you like, right? Whereas you got the complete opposite end of that spectrum, which is essentially like cloud functions, right? And you got sort of Firebase world, which is where they're prescribing use our platform because all the components work together. They're plug and play effectively, right? And that means that you don't have to worry too much. And I think that's where Supabase gives you the more power, but it all depends on what you're building. So you're asking which is better for the job that you're looking for. I don't know.
And if you need things like hierarchical data and real-time streams and things like that, Firebase has that all built in. It's already there. You can already get hierarchical data. You can already get, row levels, the equivalent of row level security already baked in. You can do almost all of those with Supabase as well, but they do require more programming effort. For one, the row level security is stymied me almost every time I've tried to think about how to make it work better. I'm pretty good at doing Postgres views and stuff though, so that part didn't trouble me at all. But it's nice. It has the real time streaming. It has RESTful calls. It has actually sending SQL up to the server and having those be restricted by your row level security. Good stuff. It's just a different approach to it. And the other thing to keep in mind is that Supabase, from top to bottom, is still, as I understand, open source, which means that if you don't want to use Supabase's hosted service, which is what you're actually paying for when you're paying Supabase, you can take your entire work off somewhere else and figure out how to do your own scaling. And but you can build it up.
Again, though, that is now up to you to do on your own. It's on
Yeah.
you to do all that
Right.
stuff.
It's
So
you again.
I think here's the thing: for a lot of companies, a lot of startups, they don't want to be locked into any one platform. That's the downside to Firebase, right? You build your stuff with all Firebase stuff. It's quick, it's simple. However, you're now vendor locked, right? Is what this term used, right? Which means now you're using all that stuff. You got to rewrite code. You got to redo things if you maybe don't code it in that with that flexibility in mind in the first place. Now, whereas if you now go to maybe the Supabase approach, is that now you're using Postgres, using maybe some standard things. Now it's easier for you to migrate off that platform. Still, you're using their stuff, and you can actually just take the open source and run it on a different server. To me, honestly, what I've always wanted is an open source backend for Firebase. So all those Firebase client libraries communicate with standard APIs that Google have a different backend implementation for those APIs. And now you've got an open source Firebase effectively, right? You could have a administration panel and stuff for those services, and actually that be what I would like Superbase to be, right? Which is I can still use all that effectively, all that front end still, and all the stuff that Firebase offer, but I'm not vendor locked. So if I do want to, I want to use all the Firebase stuff, but if I do want to move away, then I can. I think that's the difference.
Well, and Firebase does offer the Firebase connector now, which can have a Postgres-like backend behind Firebase. So you can use the Firebase auth and everything else to get to there and streams and stuff from Firebase, but you actually are using Postgres code. That code should be portable to Superbase to a certain degree, but again, the devil's in the details, because it's all the APIs that your code has to call that will definitely be different between doing it on Firebase Connect versus doing it on Superbase.
I gave Data Connect a try the other day, Firebase Data Connect. I'm finding it quite nice. And that is basically that option of it uses a Postgres database in the back end. It uses GraphQL as your sort of descriptive language to describe your model and your API. It does not use GraphQL from the client, just to be clear. And it actually generates client-side code in Dart that you can just plug into your app, which I thought was quite interesting. So you basically describe your model and your API in GraphQL, and then it generates your client, and it sets up the database for you and generates the migrations. Right, brilliant. And that gives you that again. That's about directed towards that flexibility of now. Oh, let's say I want to replace that. That's just a API surface that I've now got to replace with whatever I want, and it uses the database in the back end. You know, same data, same model.
All right, next one. Let's do the next one. This is Evanka something or other 6642. Hi everyone. Does anyone know why Flutter debugger often doesn't work properly in Android Studio? That's a pretty vague trollboard ticket there.
Raise an issue ticket. I always suggest you update to the latest versions. Now it could be if you're running an old version of Android Studio, you can get the latest version of the plugin. Each time the plugin's released, it's released for certain versions of the studio. So make sure you're running on the most recent stuff. Also, if you're running on the beta releases, well, then you've got beta code. So just be aware of that as well.
If you're running on a corporate provided laptop, then there is a high probability that your security software could be interfering with it, particularly if they're watching ports in and out. Ask me how I know. I spent a good 6 months. I don't want to say fighting, because we were very much in the same corner trying to figure it out, but having to work closely with our cyber team to get my laptop to the point where that wasn't happening anymore.
You could work.
Yeah, to where I could actually work. Yes. So that is, I would say, even if you've got like some sort of security software like Norton or McAfee or something on there, try disabling it, see if that makes a difference, because it has for me.
Yeah, and again, make sure your Flutter version itself is up to date as well.
Yep.
But I've never had these problems. Like, I think every once in a while in a blue moon, I have like something in the debugging tools fail, and then I'll just reboot the IDE or reboot, the analyzer or whatever. I mean,
that's actually a good point too, because about upgrading your Flutter version, because we actually had another issue where we weren't able to get our app running on iOS devices that were real devices that were connected to the laptop. And what we realized is that our MacBooks were updated to the latest version, but we were still working on an older Flutter version because we had locked it for the release. And as soon as we got that release out the door and then moved to upgraded to the latest version of Flutter, all of a sudden everything worked again. So that is also a distinct possibility.
I just want to answer that last one from Mike just for a second. We'll come back to the ones we've skipped, but just if you
Where's
can
the
bring
one
that one up.
that's down here somewhere. No, I can't find it. This one here, right?
Yeah.
I have I have migrated a project from Riverpod to Signals. Totally doable, but not necessary. That said, I prefer Signals. But also 4 different Signals implementations as well. So
Yeah. So you got
let's
some
see.
flexibility.
Yeah.
I wanted to also say that for anyone that doesn't know, you go to the Signals documentation, you go to the Get Started guide, go down to the bottom, and then there's this LLM's text file, and this contains the information needed to migrate to Signals from other packages like Riverpod. So this makes the process of going from one to the other a hell of a lot easier. So that link is in the chat.
And somebody asked how big it was, and this is his response. It was not super big. 100,000 lines of code. Did it in stages, a few days, back when there was no AI. Whoa, before AI. The old
Do you know what?
time.
Maybe do you know the way that you have like Anno Domini and BC, right? Like you got the like time.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like after AI, before AI? You mean do you know what life was like before AI? And you're like, yeah.
We could use
I remember the old
Skynet.
days when we had to read every line of code. You know.
Right. Yes.
Remember when you used to use books, kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read a book to learn C. Yeah. No, I think for me, like we have a fairly large code base at this point that's using Riverpod, and I do not see the value of like migrating it out. It's
No.
fine. If I was starting a new project, I'd absolutely use Signals, but you know, I think the effort of trying to refactor Riverpod out of my project and deal with all that, it's just not going to happen. So.
Yeah, if you're already familiar with the quirks of Riverpod, which there are some, some definitely gotchas and always do this, never do that kind of stuff. Once you have that memorized, Riverpod's not bad. It's just as I think now about how shallow the learning curve was for Signals for me and how much easier I can explain what Signals is doing to other people, it just seems like that's better for unique green starts that really want to have that kind of flexibility and low barrier to entry. So, yeah, okay. In fact, there's questions coming up about Signals. We talk about Signals every week now, so that's nice. But let me do these in order here. Let's take this one next. Oh, we just did that one. That star needs to go away. Let's try this one. So Dev 1876 says widgets with fixed heights like app bar. The text is vertically clipped when the system font size is scaled with text scaler. What's the best approach to prevent it and have a good UI?
Don't use that bar. There you go.
Really? Is that the answer?
It's just a surface that you have some text in. Literally, stick yourself a row in put yourself a column, stick yourself a row, put a piece of material piece of material with a row inside it, and put your text inside it. Now it all scales and it's all exactly the same. Looks exactly the same, and it works. Job done. I mean, yeah, literally what I do, and it works perfectly every time. People seem to think too much about this. And to be honest, this whole layout thing, the whole layout thing with the app bar, it's always got to me ever since I've used Flutter from day one, which is why have we got these fixed sizes for these things? Like they can be calculated. Like, yeah.
What's funny is I wrote our own app bar implementation because of this exact issue, and I was like, "Why am I doing this?" And like several years later, I'm happy with that decision. So
And every time I go to do it, every time I touch it, it's the same. It's the same thing. It may be a case that should be raising this with the Flutter team. Get time code someone. We'll send. I'll send them a link.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, it is very. I mean, we can show people, but yeah, there's certain things you do in Flutter which are just what's the word? It almost feels like it's meant to be the right way of doing it, and it just does not have the outcome that you expect, right?
Right.
But the nice thing, but here's the difference: is the problem with a lot of other platforms is you just got to put up with it, right? Whereas in Flutter, you're like, it's composition over inheritance. You just do whatever the hell you want. You compose some other widgets together, boom, you've solved the problem, right?
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. And now we got some signals questions because we were talking about signals earlier. So, Dev 1876 with signals. Dev also wrote another question. This is the second question. With signals, what's the recommended way to organize? Is to create a view model class and group related signals or other way? I mean, block usually has a block class with one state. So, signal view model plus signal. I try not to
So
overthink my architecture.
I was going to say, here's the thing: you can do it however you want. Just be
Yeah,
consistent.
right.
Like literally, you can use the same mechanism as block effectively, right? You've got so
Yes.
again, people use the block package like Flutter block package. Like, this is block, but it's not. It's like the principle of block is separating your business logic. It's separate from your UI code, and then use a stream to indicate when the UI should rebuild, right? So you have an event stream, so you have a state stream going to your UI. So your state is exactly the state of the UI, and you have events that you can emit to the block to actually have it change its state into the other. That's the general principles of block they explain there. So you can just do the same thing with signals, right? And what you're doing is you have an effect or a computed value depending on what you want, which that computed value can be the output of that is a state object, and all the entries in that computed value can be computed from other signals,
Right.
right? And then
I
whenever
still
it gets
find
updated, your UI updates.
I still find myself using the layering that I learned from Andrea and there's some other person that had a long series of
The
postings on
repo, it's called the
architecture.
repository pattern. You mean?
Yeah, but the whole it ends up being 5 layers for me. So you've got views that are observing controllers, which are orchestrating how the views come up and down. And those are both watching services, which are where your models are sitting. And those typically will try and talk to repos, which are stateless. They may have internal state, but they're not any external observable state. And they basically handle the mapping between the external APIs, which is the last layer, and the business logic and the business models that are used in the services. So that
That
layering system,
precisely. Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly what I use, and it serves me very well.
yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
using signals at 3 of the layers now instead of Riverpod to 3 layers. Yeah.
So, I mean, we used to have and talk about this question all the time. So, I don't particularly want to go into too much detail over it. However, there is new documentation about app architecture, which gives you these exact points. So let me pop that link in the chat and bring it up here temporarily. Let's have a look. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there's a section of architecture and Flutter apps. I'll put a link in the chat here. And yeah, this goes through like these different benefits and also various different common architectural comments. But it is this whole of just separating out your project into multiple layers and having a unidirectional data flow, so how data events flow through your system. If you don't have this unidirectional data flow, you don't have to, right? But then you have pinging back and forth, messages, if you will, or interactions between classes within your system, and it's very hard to trace down when a problem might occur, right? So that's why that's very important. And then finally, yeah, there's a bunch. You'll find a bunch of examples. Here's that very similar repository pattern we're just talking about, right? Which is, you've got services which are normally stateless, repositories which hold, cache essentially, the various parts of your application state. This is the moment more like app-wide state, and then you've got maybe a view model controller or something else manager that then interacts with the views themselves. And there's many different examples. This is just one of many. So check out the guides. It'll walk you through some examples, and then that can be really helpful. But for years, I've been building Android apps for like 10 years before doing Flutter, and what I call the repository pattern, which is this basically, where you have stateless. Anything that's external to the app has some sort of wrapper around it. This way, that any API, right? So put it this way, I'm not going to interact with the say Google Translate API from my widget, right? Even though I might want to do that, what I'm going to do is isolate that in its own Google into its own translate service, right? And then I'm going to have that going through the actual layers of the application architecture to get down to the UIs. From the UI sake, it just says do this translation, right? And then it returns back a state. Oh, I'm doing the translation. I'm not doing the translation. I'm working. I need to cancel the existing one. There's some sort of state management there. And now on the back end, okay, so using Google Translate, who cares, right? And now if you need to change it, you can change it. But yeah, I think there's
the other nice thing about creating a repository at the edges of like where your app is talking to something else, and for me that's like any other package or piece of code, is it just makes it so much easier when it comes to testing, because now I'm not trying to figure out how to mock like this external library. I'm just mocking my repository.
This is the whole point about having a good layered architecture as well, right? Because if you've got that unidirectional, we're just talking about unidirectional data flow there, but this principle of if you had one class requiring like every other class of your app to test it and to operate it, well, now you've got to mock everything else in your app. It's not feasible. It just doesn't make sense. This is why you don't make spaghetti code like that, right? Where everything interacts with everything else. As long as you go through nice layers and you can like orchestrate the behavior, then you're going to have a good architecture at the end of it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, all right. MVVM for repository. That's my thing. For sure.
Yep. Alrighty. Yeah.
And then there's another thing that don't be afraid of doing. Like a lot of people try to. There's problem. Sorry, I just want to talk about this because this came up the other day in a chat with someone else. Like you have an API model, right? You have what's called DTOs normally, data transfer objects. These are the objects that you send across the wire. These are JSON models that you send across the wire to interact with an API. These might replace, let's say, I'm going to give the normal example for like a blog post, but a blog post might have an author attached to it, right? Which will have the user's name, photo, other things, whatever, right? Now, when you receive that blog post from the server, it's probably just going to have the ID of the author in it, right? Then it's up to you to say, oh, if I don't have the author in my cache, my repository of authors, then I'm going to go fetch that from the server using the fetch author API or whatever, right? This is the behavior that you want, right? Whereas, this is separation. However, here's the thing. Inside your UI, you don't want to have that separation. You want to have a blog post with an author object attached to it. Why have I got an ID that now I need to go fetch on the front end and make my code more complicated? So this is why it's important to have your DTO, your data transit model, and then you have a model for your UI to use, a view model, right? Essentially, right? You've got this separation. And there's no harm in saying, okay, now I want a model object for everything on my home screen, everything on my chat screen. And then your backend can orchestrate that content from many different sources, populate that model. And now that is the state that is for your UI, right? A lot of people will end up doing each of these individual widgets, calling out to APIs directly and having all this asynchronous code running and loading spinners everywhere. And this chaos.
Yes.
And go, why is my app so slow? Or why is it not nice? And yeah.
You know what grinds my gears? You're going to find out. You know what grinds my gears? And this is me being a cantankerous old man who's very opinionated about how stuff should work. I want to vomit every time I see someone put any type of business logic in a model. And I see it all the time, particularly in their view models. People stick their business logic in there.
Yeah.
And that drives me nuts because I feel like a model should be pure data. Like that's just where I come down. I want my models to be pure data. And then if you have any type of business logic, put that in like a controller or a service somewhere, but do not stick it inside your models.
Makes sense.
I mean, that's where it comes into the result of like a presenter, right? Stuff like that. It all depends on what you're doing, right? But yeah, like as you were saying, like having it's clear separation of concerns.
Yeah,
making sure that you're not mixing all these things into in one place and having all these mixed behaviors. That if you coded it, you know how it works, but anyone else that comes along is going to have a clue.
I've seen a lot of code like that, right? Okay. Next question, and another signals question. Actually, here we go. Schwindler asks, in the Flutter community, moving away from Riverpod, should we be converting existing projects to use signals? Didn't we just cover this? We did just cover this.
Yeah. I think we did. I think it's the same thing. Like, look, it's really up to you if you want to convert to an existing project. But I think again, now you've got the problem here is more about now you're maintaining a new any bugs that come up from the old version. Well, you're gonna have to go check out the old code. You can't really, you've just changed the whole sort of core concept of your application, right? So there's impact that you maybe invisible impact that you have by just changing mid project. So normally what you want to do is not do that, especially if you've got maybe a whole team of people working on it. They don't understand how it works. Like, you want to make sure that there's some sort of learning curve there, right? So it's normally a case of that you want to do a greenfield project or a new project with a new system. And then once the team is understood it and everything else, maybe they go, okay, next major release, we're going to revamp it and change things, right? And at which point you can choose to migrate or change. But the nice thing is with Signals, I have to say, over and above everything else that all the other ones I've seen, is because Signals works with the underlying standard principles of Dart and Flutter. It means you can bind them into what's there right now. So if you wanted to, you can have Signals working with Riverpod. You have Signals working with
Block or provider.
Block with any of them, really.
Right.
So,
and I know this by direct evidence because the client I just wrapped up with, they had provider pretty much everywhere, and I introduced the idea of Signals to them on day one there, and they said, "Oh, this looks really cool," and so they started finding ways of having the provider infrastructure remain in place while they were slowly adding new features using Signals, and found ways to make them interop pretty easily because, again, you can turn a signal into just about any kind of emitter that you want. So you can use it to trigger your provider stuff and all that. And you can consume almost any kind of trigger as well. You can consume futures, you can consume streams, and aggregate those using the computed thing. And once computed gets discovered, it's like, this is like a very, very lightweight Riverpod. Yes, it is. You write a function that becomes dependent on other values, and it computes every time those values recompute, but does it in an efficient way. So it's a really nice setup. Can't say enough about Signals. I guess I should shut up now, Randall. There we go.
And just to be clear, Riverpod is not bad. Like it's not bad. It's just
I know I talk all about Signals a lot and talk about how I used to like Riverpod is the first thing to reach for, and now Signals is the first thing to reach for. But I still will think about, maybe Riverpod is better for structuring some of these things. So there we go. All right, next question. How do you work Signals? Do you prefer specific injection or something like that? Lucas asked this.
So there's a whole section on the documentation. I will ask Matthew, but that's fine. He'll come back. There was a whole section on the Signals documentation for injection and using any provider. There's also a provider signal provider like widget, which essentially uses inherited notifier to sort of provide that injection. To be honest, just pick whatever one you want. There's a couple that someone made, Context Plus, I think it was called. There's also Ref Lite. These are kind of interesting ones. It's Context Plus, and I'll pop them in the chat. And then another one was Ref Lite, and I've been told they work well together. Ref Lite, I think it was. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I see where we're getting this question here. I see where we're getting the question. Because Roddy suggests too many options for injection, and I got paralyzed by choice. Yeah, sometimes there are too many ways to do things.
So Roddy came on the show. So what you want to do, Lucas, is look back. So we actually, first of all, we built an app on the show and some live coding, which uses Signals, so you can check that out. But equally, Roddy came on the show and we talked about this, and it was one of these things where we were talking about him, like he wants it to obviously be flexible, that you can use it with anything, but also the reason why that Signals provider in there is to make it opinionated, so you can just use that. But I think the Signals provider is just not flexible enough. It only works with Flutter signals, doesn't work with just general read-only signals. There's also a limitation that it doesn't do the multi-provider thing, which is quite a lot of apps use, where you've kind of got like lots of things provided down the tree. So if you want to kind of take advantage of it right now, you'd be using one of these other packages. Provider is the one I normally go for, right? you can just use provider as just a nice way of having inherited widgets, basically.
Right.
But equally, just make your own little class that's an inherited widget or inherited model or whatever.
Right. Or just use the provider thing that they also have, signal provider.
Yeah.
Works out.
Something
Works out.
I've always
Used it already.
thought was quite powerful, which is pretty much how the inherited widgets work. Is I just do you can just do like find ancestor of state, and once you've got the parent state, then just cache it so you don't have to get it again, and you can do like a mixin that you can put on any of your state widgets, and boom, you've got like a nice cacheable lookup system. I think too many people overthink these things, to be honest. That's really where it comes into it. Like yeah. I don't know.
Yep. All right. Well, that was our last question that's in so far. So get your questions in now because the queue has 0.
I have a question for the two of you, actually, since we are. Sorry about that. I had to step away for a minute. I'm back.
Yeah,
so we talked about Firebase functions a little bit ago, and we also talked about, and obviously this is a Flutter show. So I have a unique problem right now where I am able to capture
we can't help you. That's permanent. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't worry.
Oh, it's permanent. It's permanent. Yeah.
Can't help with that problem. That's permanent.
So I'm able to capture some video using an ESP32 cam module. And that video is saved as a motion JPEG, as an MJPEG. I need to then play that video inside of a Flutter app. And most of the video players that I found so far really are happiest if you've got an MP4. I've not found any of them that specifically support motion JPEG. So my question for you, because this is going to be sent via Firebase, Cloud Functions, the whole 9 yards, what would be your solution to converting this from a MJPEG to an MP4? Would you do it in the cloud? Would you do it on device?
Okay. Question is, do you want to convert it? Are you happy with the size of the MJPEG files?
I want it to be playable inside of a Flutter app that is
You can do that with an MJPEG file.
I looked at like all of the video players and none of them. Okay.
What do you think an MJPEG file contains?
A bunch of JPEGs played rapidly in succession.
How difficult do you think it is for you to do that?
Okay. Fair enough.
Right? Like you have the JPEG, the hard bit is the JPEG decompression, which is already done for you, right? I think it's just about orchestrating, detecting the starting endpoints of there's some F9D1 and some other, I can tell you the hex for it, but basically the start and stop markers, start of file and end of file markers for JPEGs. I'm sure that there's actually probably, if you go look at MJPEG, there's probably a number of bytes you skip to get to the next frame, normally ahead of time. But you could just like read the file, take the chunks of the raw data out, and stick it into a raw image, and it will just like do it for you. And then you've now just got yourself like literally just one after the other. And there's a continuous playback option, which means when you give it a new provider, you could have it return it. In fact, you might even just go. It might be easier just to do a. If you look at image provider, you can do your own multi-frame image provider, multi-frame image stream from an image provider, and basically it acts the same as like an animated GIF inside of Flutter.
That's all I need because there's no audio in this. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Just do that, and then there's no conversion needed. There's no extra resources. You just take what you've got and display it.
Excellent. All right, that answers my question. Thank you, sir.
It sounds like it's the hard way, but give it a try. Before you know, you'll be like, oh, it's not, because you've got constraint. You're very constrained, right? Just need motion JPEG. Just need this thing to work. So just do that, and you'll be fine, right?
Yeah, you've now been part of helping me build the absolute dumbest thing that I've ever come up with. So keep an eye out for
Just
that.
to make sure you put my name in the credits. I'm happy.
And just a reminder, please put Q in front of your questions if you want us to ask it as part of the panel. But I imagine there should have been a Q in front of this one. Mohammed asks, how can we choose the state management for a project? In my opinion, all approaches are good, but how do we choose one? Well, get familiar with all of them. That's that way you have the way to make a choice. I mean, I can give you my recommendations now, and they're different than what I would say 6 months ago.
Majid gave a talk at a conference at Joy-Con London. I think it was 2021 or something around there, 2022. And he went through, I think it was Mike. Was it? Hang on a minute, Mike. Were you the one that was doing the tables on Twitter with all the different state management options? Like there was someone who was on Twitter. Sorry, Mike, if it was you and I'm mixed, or not yours mixed, whatever. But there was someone that was mad, like producing all these tables of packages, all these like competing packages. The one for state management, yeah, it was you, Mike. Thanks. It was literally like I think it got to like 40 packages long, and it was like a matrix. I'm not joking. Please, Mike, if you've got the link, send me in the Slack or something, right? And I'll bring it up. But this matrix got to be like, I think it was like I maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was a stupid number of packages, all cross-referenced with all the different features, and you're like,
wow.
And Majid did a really brilliant talk where he literally talked about all the different combinations, all the different reasons you might choose one over another, and it literally is answering this problem of how do you choose which one. The answer, yeah, roughly 40 has not been updated in years. Exactly, and that was years ago. Like state managers, those hot topics. Like just choose one and use it. And if you're unhappy with it, try a different one.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. That was it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So, yeah, we've suggested signals. There you go. Use that for a bit.
Yep. Yes. The latest recommendation from the Humpday Q&A team is signals.
Yeah, exactly, right?
We'll have to have that little scoreboard in the corner of this. Shows how many days since we changed our mind on that.
Maybe we should just have like a common questions thing that people go to, and then we got the current answer for these questions is this.
The current answer.
Better yet, let's make AI Simon, and then this could like never end. We could have like a 24/7 live Q&A, and then AI Simon could just like answer the questions.
When I think of like an AI character, like that, it always makes me think of what's the guy that stuttered? Like the robot like head that stuttered. It was like a TV show like the 90s.
Oh, Max Headroom.
Max Headroom, yeah.
Mm.
Reminds me, always when I think of that, it reminds me of Max Headroom. It'd be funny to have like an AI bot of Max Headroom that just always just 24/7 like doing his thing. I'm sure someone's going to do that now. Anyway, or has done it, and I haven't seen it.
Someone has come close. AI Asmongold, but anyway.
Oh, look, there's a benchmark that compares Dart level performance of current main signal implementation, and it calls MobX and Riverpod Dart. I'll be honest with you, like I look at these things and go, I look at the performance. When I look at these benchmarks and performance things, I do inwardly sigh because it's not like, and then if I was coding something for like a Commodore 64 or an ESP32, I'm concerned about like every cycle I can, and that's a different thing, right? You're coding mobile apps for mobile phones and desktop machines. Sadly, it's just not normally worth your time to like challenge yourself over getting rid of all those cycles, right? Not until you need to. And that's called early optimization. It's a flaw in a lot of development. So choosing a package over, this one in the right scenario gets 3.3 more cycles out of the CPU. I don't, maybe like unless you're talking about like 2 orders of magnitude or something ridiculous. I'm like, well, why am I bothering? And again, it's like how much you're actually going to be relying on the state management package to do the actual true function of your app. And the answer is not a lot. A lot of it is just updating your UI.
Yeah. It's the time you spend in build that matters, not the time you spend thinking about what to build.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny,
right?
Because not at this job, but at a previous job, worked with a developer who was old school Android developer, like had been with Android since the beginning. And when I explained to him, and when I explained to them how Flutter handled, like, refreshing the screen and updates and stuff, he lost his mind because he's like, there's no way that's going to be performant. There's no way that this is. And I'm like,
I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's more performant than the standard way Android does it. So
yeah.
You mean like do you mean because it re-renders the screen, like it renders the screen? Is that what
yes.
it is? See, again, this is a fallacy of like a lot of development. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I fell into this at the very beginning, right? Because at the end of the day, what do you think the OS does? It does a bunch of drawing commands. They get cached. They get sent over to the GPU. The GPU renders it, and they get displayed on the screen. Zero difference. So yeah, it's one of those sort of things in your mind. You're thinking, oh, it's like a whole layer on top, and actually, it's not.
Man, I was just typing out a response to this. Okay, so no, it's not a live stream. It is. I'm recording 10 seconds of video and uploading it to a server that then the app gets a push notification. Okay, so the project is this, and you guys are getting spoiled on it.
No, you don't have to spoil. You don't have to spoil it for us.
Okay.
Keep it for the day. You understand that you got an MJ picture. There you go.
It's a 10-second video. It's a 10-second video. It's uploaded to the server. The app gets a notification that that a video has been uploaded. You open the app, you view it. So, but this might actually that doesn't preclude this from working potentially.
Yeah, I was going to say like this looks to me like it's about having just what's the input here? This probably just does that hard bit of actually, as I said, of deconstructing the. It's kind of interesting.
Someone already did it for me. Amazing.
With height, so stream URL. I mean, should we just see what this is doing on the back end? Should we go for exploration here?
I'm down because this might be exactly what I need. So
let's go take a look. So okay, so first of all, he's got some test images. Is he or not? No, what are you doing? Why are you putting this really does infuriate. Why are these in this branch of your repo, which is just used for the documentation? Most people make orphan branches for these things. Right. That's my tip over, right? Right, lib. Yep. MJPEG stream source. Okay, so it's got processor and screen. So we've got a try and make this big for everyone, but yeah. So we got a widget, pass over a bunch of values using value notify. So that, again, there's no dependency on external libraries, like it. Not so liking this. Yeah, we're going to create a client every time. Not so great. This says timeout. Standard HTTP again uses all the inbuilt stuff, so that's good. Could do with maybe a bit more of a thing. And here, look, FFD9.
There's the chunking. Yep.
Right.
There's
so this
the chunking.
Can you mute your mic? We've got a dog barking.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys can hear.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So FFD9. So this is literally what I was saying before. He's working out where the chunk is, and then saying add that chunk and send the image. This is all you need to do. So you don't really need to have any sort of stream. This isn't going to. This is specific, and this is a problem. This has been designed wrong, right? So from an API perspective, this functionality of where you're getting out your data, this should not come into this widget. Why the hell is this in the widget in the first place, right?
So honestly, though, I could just crib 5 lines of code there, and
exactly.
Yeah,
But this is my point. You could be using this widget, which actually has place, stop, pause, and whatever else you might need. But because the source of data is now hard-coded to coming from a HTTP stream inside this thing, without even the ability to override the clients, you can't even fake the HTTP request and somehow get in there. you kind of landed into this only works for this one situation where you want to get an MPEG from a URL, right? Which is, don't get me wrong, that's how everything's designed, but that's also not the way to design a library, right? And this is what then it kind of infuriates me, because this is then what comes into now someone copies this package, makes a change, or redeploys it as another plus thing, whatever else. Anyway, but yeah, so here it is here. So this looks at the end FFD8 and FFD9, two beginning and end markers, your start of image and end of image markers. I think it's called start of frame, end of frame, something like that. But yeah, all it's doing here is breaking it up into chunks and then sending it over to, what was the function? Send image. And if we go down to send image, sends it over to the processor, and then gets back out a list of integers, checks to make sure that that's a frame, and then creates a memory image. Interesting. Creates a memory image from that block of data, and then should over here have a raw image probably. I mean, again, the ideal scenario you could have with this, I can't even find it there. There should be.
This looks like a far too long subroutine.
Current image. There should be a and there's your gapless playback, which means that when it swaps one out for the other, make sure it loads it first, so you don't get like a flicker. Yeah. So this is these three your parameters you really want. I'm going to say that I mean there's a lot in here which doesn't need to be here. It could be a lot simpler. Like, and then also, what is this? Again, if you look about all the code that's in here, the MJPEG processor is basically running an if statement, right? All that stuff about actually processing it, that was all inside the widget, which should have been in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
This should have been an object that you create, that you inject to the widget, that provides the function, the business logic that's needed, right? But this is what I was saying to you earlier, right? This is all you need to do, which is basically validate that start end frame. And once you've got that, you can just display it on the screen in an image widget, right?
No, that's beautiful. Yeah. So I obviously am not going to use that specific package, but A Green SH, thank you for the recommendation, because I'm going to take what I see them doing and do it better. So thank you.
Make a package from it.
Maybe I will, actually. Maybe I will. Make my own package that you can just pass your own thing into, and it's a little bit.
I like the idea. Honestly, it should just be I don't know if there's one out there, right? But I'll check to see if there's an MJPEG image provider. I don't know why that's just not an image provider.
Yeah.
And you literally just use an image widget and give it the provider with the source of your MJPEG, and that could be a stream, it could be a file, it could be whatever, and you're done. I mean, yeah.
Sweet. Thank you.
And you don't have any more questions, except that Mohammed keeps asking the same question. Please stop asking the same question. We've already answered this in the stream. Just rewind about 10 minutes.
Get X, 100%.
No.
No. Don't troll. Don't troll.
Problem solved.
Ah!
Oh!
Yes. We have bigger band hammers than you have.
I'm sure.
Anyways, so we're done with that question again.
Right. Is there anything that does anyone want to like us to like live code something? Like we
There was a suggestion earlier about live coding something, but I didn't flag it, sadly. It just whizzed by.
I'm good for another half hour, and then I'll have to head out, just so that we're aware.
Well, we could maybe like go through something quickly, or
same as me too. So.
Oh, new question came in. I'll bring it straight out. How to pick a name for a state management library I'm developing? Just kidding.
Now he's trolling us.
I love
wonderful.
Oh, this is cool. So I can see we can see on here on the comments, by the way, which one came from the mobile stream. So I know that Will Coder, you're on the portrait version of our stream, and so is Mohammed. This is cool. This is working. Like it.
Cool. Okay.
It's a good thought, actually. I'd love to know. Do people like the idea of having a mobile specific version of the stream in portrait? Is that something that we should continue doing? This is just the first time we're trying it, so yeah. please leave your comments, and we'll take into consideration.
So Simon, the value I do see out of it is that if you wanted to split up this content and turn it into shorts or like Instagram stuff, this having the portrait view would be super useful.
Yeah. Already on that train.
Okay, never mind. I can't wait to be scrolling through my YouTube shorts and see my own face pop up. That'll be fantastic.
We've actually I've been looking at I need to put together some funds, but there's a lot of AI processors that will process and clip out the questions for us and answers and put them into shorts, which I want to do because the long form content is quite hard to digest if you're not here live. So I do want to do that. However, it's done pay per minute, and these streams go on for like hours, right? So
yeah,
it is just to do that every week. Suddenly you're paying for like a good a good number of hours every month to process.
Hold on, Simon. I've got a great idea. So you can create you can create an MCP server in Docker and give it access to. You can set up the DaVinci Resolve MCP. You can also then transcribe all of these videos into text, and then you could connect that to Claude Desktop and have Claude. Just give Claude complete.
Do this?
No.
Right. Well, I don't either. So that's why you pay for it.
Cue the Rube Goldberg music. It'd be circus-like, I think.
Around this little crane that drops an egg in.
Yes. Oh, let's have Banana Pro draw the infographic that describes the process.
Perfect.
Everyone, please save me from these people.
We are the AI people. Join us.
Oh my God. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Did
Hold on. I have to download this and show it to you guys.
Oh,
I asked Nana the banana. Literally, the prompt I used was, please create a picture of Dask, the Flutter mascot, in a turkey costume. And let me see if I can share. Let me see if I can share this. How am I going to share this?
Share button on the bottom. It's a plus.
Share.
Plus with a computer.
I don't want to share screen.
Yeah.
You should share
image
preview
file?
or whatever. Share preview. That's what I usually end up doing.
You know what? I'll just do this. Save image as dash. All right. Coming back over. Share image file. Perfect. Here we go. There we go.
There's a share image file, really? Oh, that's great.
It's perfection.
Simon,
it's perfection.
There we go.
Nana banana. Got it.
Nice.
Got it perfectly.
Got it in one.
Yeah, there is nothing I would do to improve this image.
That is great.
Good job, Nana Banana. That was well worth the resources.
Yes. How much water did you consume? How many electrons did you burn there?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. That's cute.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm trying to find Mike was just said he sent me a found it.
Oh, okay.
He said it's fun to make an updated one. Well, you said it now.
Yep.
Right, hang on. Is this gonna come
Again,
through?
if you're asking questions of us, please put Q : in front of your question.
Here you go.
Oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, this is glorious. Glorious. Oh my God.
Nice work.
So yeah. Issue number 19. So there you go. So here's the funny thing, right? It lists this at the top, but I really think it should be banned from our list. Because if you if you just look at this based on number of likes, you can tell that it's being gamed.
Yeah.
Right. And we saw this from day one. And I'm not going to be we specifically don't mention that package in here because first of all, the author has been pretty rude to a lot of members of the community and pretty, should we say,
Possibly
It's not
nefarious.
nice. I'm like it just I don't want to say the rude words. I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. But when it was coming out at the time, we found that the most popular package at the time, which was still everyone talking about them, somehow this Get package was getting all these likes. No one was talking about it in any of the communities: China, India, UK, US, like Europe market, the US market. Like no one, and it's like there's no way it can have more popularity than the most popular Flutter package at the time, and no one knows about it. It just doesn't work that way, right? Like it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So and it's not. And at the time, and I don't know about it now, but you can buy bots, right? You can buy bots that have Google accounts that can go thumb up something, right? So and just based on what makes sense from the community at the time, we're pretty sure that's what happened, right? And you also check about the number of downloads here, number of downloads per week compared to the number of likes. Again, the stats show it all. It's just not as popular as it would be supposed. So, yeah, we don't particularly mention that package, and we won't be doing that again. But now you know some of the views. Yeah, and this is it, right? Mike's just saying it's up to 15.5k likes now.
Wow.
When you think about Riverpod and how popular Riverpod is in the community, about how everyone knows about Riverpod, right? And see what that gets. There was actually ways of getting those stats back then, Mike. Just to be clear, and it didn't make sense back then, and it still doesn't make sense now. So, yeah.
Wait, you can buy GitHub likes?
Sorry,
you can buy GitHub likes.
You can buy you can buy likes on any of these things. They're just bots.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Sorry, that didn't come across correctly, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just and the fact of the matter is, the fact that you feel like you need to do that as well. And I don't know, there's no, absolute proof that that's what happened, but yeah,
I guess where I'm coming from,
something really smell about it, and I don't know what it was, but
if it's possible, I would like to buy a whole bunch of likes for the is even package to see if we could get it above GetX in terms of number of. That would be so
funny, right? Yeah. Proof of it, right? But the problem here is, like, that is literally abuse of the Dart, the Google platform, and you just don't want to do that.
We could start a GoFundMe. Start a GoFundMe that takes money in and then pays bots to like something.
I love it.
Yeah.
$1 buys 5 stars for the is even package. I should have done everybody at work, and they lost their mind, particularly when they saw it had independence again. Is odd. Sorry.
Mike did make a good point there. He says that the GitHub stars and all the other things are still listed here. So yeah, I mean, here's a good example of this. Look at like Flutter block with how many it's got here, and then like the disparagement between these as well. I mean, like you just compare like the numbers, and you're like, hang on a second, no code coverage, API documentation can like it just, the numbers honestly don't add up when you actually look at a lot of the stuff. You're like, yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. All right, anyway, let's move on.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
I saw
we do have that gist that you just got, Matt. What was that?
Oh yeah. So this was. Yeah. It is an implementation of MJPEG completely in Flutter. Yeah, it's really.
What is this?
Yeah.
Just in the YouTube chat.
Oh
yeah. Let me see if I can bring it up here.
I'm wondering if Mr. A Green here is just using AI to generate.
No, this gist has comments from 2021.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I was waiting for someone whilst we were talking about it just to go chuck the requirements into an AI agent and have it build it.
Right.
I got your anti-gravity right here.
Yep.
Let's bring it up. I'll bring it up on stream. Hang on.
Yeah, it says it's not my code.
Yeah, no, but it's
fine. I love the way it's not my code. If it's crap, don't be up.
Don't yell at me if it's crap.
Don't yell at me. Hang on. Oops, there we go. Oops. There we go. Fill the screen. Right. MJP playing entirely in Flutter and Dart. Okay, so we got like a little example here. It's created 6 years ago. It's had 8 stars, 1 fault, and 1 revision. Okay, so we've got the usual stuff. Here's our MJPEG source. Here's an MJPEG view. The MJPEG view itself. How many frames per second? I guess because you're going to need to know the expectation because of you don't get the information in the metadata of the MJPEG, right? So you don't know what your playback speed is going to be. Interesting. Yeah, cool. Here's your current MJPEG image. Create a timer. Again, create your client. Again, this should be injectable. Again, create the request. You're in the init state. Send and then the response. Start and end index. Again, looking for start and end markers. Gets the data coming in. Read that buffer data, work out if it's got the start or end index in it. Add all that data to our global buffer. So this is accumulation buffer, right? This is actually not a great way to actually do this. So ideally, let me explain something quickly. Hang on. We're going to just flip back to the standard Dart documentation for a second. So what you're going to receive back on all networking is a U8 list. In fact, it might be a U8 clamp list, which means it's clamped to bytes. There's also a immutable version of this in somewhere around here. I can't remember where it is, which basically means that it's read-only. And what this is although it says it's a type data of list int, they're not actual full integers. So they're not 64-bit storage. So in Dart, an integer can be 64 bits, which means there's 8 bytes to store that one integer. So if you transmit byte data using ints in Dart, well, now it's literally wasting 7/8 of the space. Is that right? Yeah, whatever. No, is it? Yeah, I don't know. And you're only using 1/8 of the memory efficiently, which is absolutely crazy. So your 1 megabyte of memory turns into 8 megabytes of actual memory that you're utilizing.
And most of it's junk. Yeah.
Most of it's empty, right? It's not being used.
Yeah.
So that's why these things exist, why these two things exist. But the key here is because they implement data list int as an interface, not as the way the data is stored, as an interface, which is a list of int. This is why all the APIs that actually use it use a list of int. This is actually a U8 list, not a 64-bit list. But this one up here at the top, this is a 64-bit int list.
Ooh.
Do you see the difference here?
Yeah.
So what you actually so there's actually a few packages, and one of them is provided by the Dart team. I can't remember what it is. For actually doing accumulation buffers with U8 lists, and that's what you actually want to do. So to be clear, if this was like a stream that's ongoing for a long period of time, you've just wasted a lot of memory by doing it this way, and it's not visible unless you knew the underlying implementation detail, right? Anyways, kind of rolling back on this, right? So we accumulate the buffer, we create a start and end index. As soon as we have a full frame, so we have a start and end index, we stop our timer, get the elapsed time. If we work out how many frames it is, great. Then we display that data and get the buffer, put image memory in place, pre-cache it. You don't actually need to do this, but pre-cache it, and then set state to display it on the screen, reset the timer, and do it again. So there's a couple of problems in this. So one is that you're locking in the processing of the images and the display, right? So I'm going to say like this, at the moment, let's say we get to this point and this condition is not met. what's actually happened here, because at the moment, by the looks of this if condition is not met, you just dropped an image unnecessarily, right? The path of data coming in from your stream of data, the images coming in from your stream of data is separate to the output display of those images. You need to have a buffer between the two. That's a list of images that have been decoded and are ready to be displayed. This is the standard producer consumer issue that's in all programming. This is quite a basic example, of course, but yeah, this is not the way to do this, right? You should have your expectation of having a timer that displays and updates the next frame if one's available. That's separate. That's your consumer, and then you have a separate producer of images, which is the decoding of the images off your network request or off your disk, and producing a list of images as soon as it gets them coming in. And then what we can also do is have sorry, just to be clear about this kind of programming concept. You might limit that to, like, say 1 second. Maybe let's say you had 60 FPS, you might have 60 images that you're willing to buffer. And then so if you've got more data coming in and if you haven't consumed those buffers, you've now got a buffer underrun or overrun, depending on which side of that you're on. And in which case you pause the data coming in, you pause processing that data until there's a free slot to decode an image to once been displayed. This is the producer consumer issue. This is how standard stuff, and it's not difficult to do. You just stick a queue in there, some counters, right? But definitely don't naively do this, because this is going to be terrible. This is dropping images all over the place, right? Like, and you're just hoping that this, I've like literally have no idea why there's a delay 100 milliseconds just thrown in here just because, you know. And equally the image pre-cache, again, that's why you have gapless playback on the front end to not display until it's cached it ready to be displayed on the screen. Yeah. Also, you can actually do he's actually making a new widget every single time in the new image provider. Image provider is designed to actually do all this for you, which is to display an image stream of images to an app. So you don't actually need to do it anything like this. You can just do it from the image provider, which is the correct place of doing this. Yeah. Anyway, I digress, but yeah, they're fun.
So Simon, I think the package you were looking for earlier was Bytes Builder, the class Bytes Builder.
Bytes Builder. Oh, you might be right. Yeah. Let me grab the URL that you put in the chat here and bring it up.
Yeah.
There's a couple of various different packages and things around this Bytes Builder. Yeah, there's a list of bytes allowing bytes and lists of bytes to be added to the end, used efficiently to collect bytes of lists of bytes. Yeah. So normally what happens is I'm trying to remember there's also there's when you transfer data across a platform channel, between isolates. Hang on, isolate.
Oh,
what's the? There's some documentation around this.
Send port. What does send port take?
Send port. That's the one I was looking at. Send port. Sorry, yeah, you're right. That's what I was looking for. Is it receive port? Somewhere in the documentation.
Yeah, it's always the other one. It's the problem. I look them up both every time.
Oh no, it'll be the raw. Is it? No. Somewhere there's a list in the documentation of exactly what you can send and receive.
Yeah, I think SendPort has it.
I'm looking. There's not here. Native port, raw, send port.
I know it's in either send port or receive port. It's weird that it's not in either.
Raw receive port. Hang on. I don't know where it's gone to. I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, do you know what it'd be? It'll be in the send function, won't it? It'll be the documentation of the actual. Here we go. Transferable type data. There we go. So these are all the different things that you can kind of send in and out of Dart sort of memory, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, we won't go into all this. This is kind of complicated, but yeah. Transferable type data from a list of. See, it says list of type data, not list of int this time, right? And there's a bunch of stuff here. It's created from a number of bytes. It will take time proportional number of bytes. Where is it? Locally transferable can no longer be materialized. They're received. Is it this one? And maybe I'm not even getting mixed up. I feel like it's maybe based off of this, that there's a bunch of types that are actually implementing this, but it's not linked from here. It's been a while. Anyway, there's one which is basically means that you're essentially sending the code sends the ownership of the buffer from one isolate to the other, and one relinquishes control. And by doing so, you don't have to copy the memory around, which makes it really efficient and fast. And I'm pretty sure that's what the transferable type data is about, to implement that interface on behalf of those things.
Sweet. Well, what I've just learned is that I'm going to write my own implementation. I am not going to try to convert this to an MP4 on the server side because that's stupid. And
it's not stupid, I think that the point here is that MP4 will provide a little bit more compression out of an JPEG for sure, right? But the question is that the aim of it, right? And the question is, if you're only getting like 5 frames a second or whatever, you're not getting like full 60 FPS, then you're probably not going to see a performance benefit out of doing that, right? To warrant it.
And honestly, this is never going to see production. This is something for a YouTube video. So
why
might as well
give yourself the hassle, right?
I might as well write my own implementation of this and learn something in the process, which loops us back around to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Sometimes it's good to write stuff that has solved problems for your own edification.
It's like we planned it. It's like we planned
yes, we have come full circle. Circle
nice.
of life.
Nice.
All right.
We should probably wrap up since both Matt and I.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, we did some code review there. I don't think we'll do. I mean, we haven't had any suggestions for live coding. Right. I think what we will do is, I think we'll do some live coding next week. Okay. I do kind of have some ideas I would like to tackle, but again, it's one of those things where if this show goes on for too long, it becomes not worth it, right? Because no one's going to see it because they just can't sit down and watch 3 hours of the show. I think then I'm kind of interested again, maybe viewers can tell us right now, is there an interest in seeing a separate show for live coding and having the Q&A stuff separate, right? Because I think people are interested in both, but from repeatability and what rewatchability, as it were, having them separate probably makes more sense. And I'll be really interested. Your question, did we miss a question?
That was one of them where I said, oh, no, there's, there is one more question. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So how can we have YouTube Shorts kind of feature implemented? Like even with 20, 30 videos and list, even if we move up and down rapidly, there's no pause or buffering, but we cannot have that much of controllers. Is there a limit, right? No.
So it's about being clever with how you manage these things. This is you can do this, right? But then you will reach a performance obviously impact that you've now trying to decode and process way too much data than the phone can handle, right? And there's also you don't do more than what you can visually process, visually see on the screen. So there's various different tricks you can do to that, right? And much of it regards into not just doing your out of the box video player like experience. So it's all possible because anything you can do on Android, anything you can do on the native platform, iOS, whatever, you can do in Flutter. Flutter doesn't preclude you from doing anything that all these other apps are doing. If you've seen it done in TikTok, let's say, which is what you're talking about, this kind of like TikTok like shorts thing, or YouTube shorts, even you're scrolling through them really quickly, you can do it in Flutter. It's built on top of the same platform. It literally does not preclude you from doing any of that stuff. The problem is, how hard is it for you to do it? Now, they've spent like many developers with big teams doing these things, right? So don't expect to get like, their level of behavior and experience and everything else without spending a lot of time doing it. Now, it's not saying it's not possible though, right? So I think that the question here is, and I'm talking about this particularly around video, because video decoding and video is hard. Full stop. There's no easy way of I'm going to record and just share my video. Like I'm going to do a video call system. Like literally, you're just asking for trouble, right? Is one of the hardest things you can do. Processing that amount of data that's time sensitive, that needs to be synchronized. It's like it is a difficult problem. Anyway, back to your point. Particularly, yeah, you can actually pre-cache off the screen. So if you look at custom scroll view, you can add a cache extent, and using the cache extent type. Hang on, let me bring it up here on the screen. Probably makes more sense briefly, and then we'll wrap up. This is taxing my memory, but it's been a while. But yeah, if you look on custom scroll views constructor, you have your cache extent value here, and I believe it'll be the time I don't have it here. I swear it was on here. No, it's
property of the class, right? Isn't it?
No, there's the cache extent type, if it's a whole screen or pixels. There was an extra parameter that was added, and I'm wondering if it was added to only a certain constructor, or I'm thinking of it being added to one of the other constructors. Let me look at scroll view. I think it might be on here. I feel like I'm in a what was it? The Twilight Zone. Box scroll view.
It's the Mandela effect.
I know it's here. I would have liked it.
You're sure it was there last time I looked?
It might have actually been on the some of the base viewport stuff, to be honest, because I might have. I tell you what, it might be actually on the viewport widget. Hang on. In which case, see some of our previous shows, but yes, it is on here. Here we go. Cache extent style. So what you don't want is pixel. That's what you don't want. What you want is set your cache extent style to viewport, which is basically means the cache extent number is the number of multipliers of your viewport, right? So, so yeah. Anyway,
that's interesting.
But viewport is basically think of it as the same as list view or the same as custom scroll view. It's just the underlying implementation. You can look at what the parameters are. But this list of widget is list of slivers, and inside that you put a sliver list, right? And use sliver list builder in your case, and then you want to implement this widgets builder, and that can return back your item, that your video player and whatnot. But generally, the idea here being that means that you can get 3 or 4 screens worth of content being loaded before the user sees them, right? So you can get maybe the current video and a video above and below, or 2 videos above and below starting to load before they come in. Then again, you also want to prioritize your data transfer so that the ones that are nearer to the user are going to be loaded first. So this is the complexities of this. As you scroll, the ones that are going off screen, they're probably not going to see again. So you deprioritize the download of that data over the download of more data coming at the bottom. And that's kind of a whole process that happens when you have this kind of thing. But that is the app, right? That's the idea of the app, right? That kind of input of the app is very particular to that use case. And that's what you need to build out. It's not the same as page views cache extend. I don't think it uses that. I think it still uses pixel. I wonder if page view actually pass it through. I can't believe so because they're based on custom view, I think. But do you know what? I forget. It's been a while. There's the problem here is like the scrolling stuff has become very much like text, editable text and text field, where there's so many options and parameters, and they've kind of become unwieldy. I think that what we actually need to be seeing is a separation of concerns and actually separating them off a bit more. And there's a huge inheritance chain on some of those things as well that needs to be split off, and actually a better system of implementation. If I'm honest, that's what I'd like to see. But yeah, I'm not in charge of none of that's, by the way, work for Google. or just community members. So we have no control over these things. We can make Resident Evil ticket and hopefully they see it, right? So
yeah.
Oh, I see. So it says here, for an iPhone, there's no issue. We have number of controllers, but the problem is in Android. Any insight on what I should research on? You probably want to change the implementation. So again, go read up about Android. Try and build it in Android, right? And see what it's doing. And whatever you build in Android, you can just build your own plugin, use the plugin documentation, and have it work in Flutter, right? I mean, like, you don't have to do that, but what I'm just trying to get at is like that's where you kind of want to look at. Let me just get you a little bit of documentation here. Hang on. Where is it? Developing package. Would that be the one? It's A1. Yeah. So there is a page on the official documentation, which can help you if you want to try and build a package. There's actually one about cross-platform integration, writing platform-specific code. This one here, which explains a bit more about how this process works. I'll put these links in the chat, but you don't really need to go that far. I think I would suggest, that you kind of just need to like look at, how you're working the loading and the processing of the data, and it's probably, I don't like have a look. I think the key here is most of these use cases are that you need to benchmark it, that you need to get your data, that you need to debug it, right, and work out what's going on, when it's happening, and where your bottleneck is and what's going on. But I know it's possible because I've seen it being done before with Flutter for a start. So, all right then. I think that kind of wraps us up.
Yep. I have to hop off for my next meeting, but it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys.
Anytime.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Great.
Anytime. Thanks very much, everyone. And we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye.
All right.
Bye.